that Popeye sandwich in the back by yourself.
Yes, fuck them kids. Eat that sandwich.
Fuck them kids. I got none
We're
but love.
brothers.
We're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Da, 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 da. Give me a high five. All right, guys, beautiful guys, cut and sing.
Hey, beautiful. It's your girl, Rebecca Zahara.
It's your girl, Amy.
And we are on, shit's falling, girl. We are on episode 12 of Bali Belle. And today we're going to talk about, so we were a little bit late, okay? And so, don't judge. But today we're going to talk about our thoughts about our September self-care challenge that we just had, and just some takeaways for that.
So thank you guys for sticking around, watching us, supporting us. Maybe we're supporting you. I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know how we affect you in your day.
Okay.
Now, since the last time you saw us, Becky came to Texas. She should probably insert a couple of pics there because we did some cute stuff. Insert. I don't know. Either way, Becky came to Texas. We were gonna record here. It was not a good day, y'all. It was not a good day.
Let me tell you something, y'all. What I realized was, and I'm grateful. So, I'm grateful. So, the day that we were going to record, we just had mad tension. And, like, so, she was getting agitated. I was getting agitated. Old me would have persisted to agitate her for the sake of, you're wrong.
Oh, she dropped tea.
No, but it wasn't even like, it was literally dumb. We literally were having tension, and it was just dumb. And I was just like, I do not want to argue with my sister. Like, I came here from New York. I would not want to argue with you. And so I was just like, let's just not record. Like, and then that's it. We diffused the energy. Like, I went into meditation. I was like, I'm grateful to be here. Like, I love my sister. And then we was just Gucci. We cooked dinner and we just didn't record.
I'm pretty sure I took a nap.
Right.
Okay.
Diffuse the energy, and then we was just like, all right, I'm hungry.
Old me would have been like, no, let's record. Old me would have been like, let's continue. I don't care that like my energy is off now. Like, I'm not about to, I don't want to do this shit later. Hurry up and do it now. Old me. Esther today, I'd be like, all right, bro. I really don't have time for no crazy energy anymore. It just feels like it's taking more out of me than it did before. What I have realized is that along with my bones that don't seem to bounce back like they were when I was 16, so is my temperament. I don't want to, when I was younger, I think it might have been exciting to have all those mood changes and, back and forth between thinking this, thinking that. Today that shit sounds exhausting. That sounds like so much. Oh my God.
And so,
I don't really want to have that drama within myself.
And so we didn't record. Oh yeah. So for the September self-care challenge, I think we mentioned it in another podcast. Anyway, for the September self-care challenge, it was to commit to prioritizing yourself for 30 days of self-care for the month of September. So for the challenge, it ended up being around 20 of us in the group. keeping ourselves accountable daily, to our commitment to ourselves. So in there, we were sharing our personal stories. Actually, you know what? We did
It
that.
actually turned out to be really nice.
Yes, I was grateful that I was able to hold space for everyone in that way. Um, so I give thanks. I give thanks. But for the challenge, um, it is, and it's ultimately a 30-day self-care calendar. So just because you missed out on September, it's still available on the Galimel website. So the link will be down in the description below. But the things on the calendar are pretty simple. I think one of the things that I saw came up the most with us holding ourselves accountable to our commitment to ourselves was thinking that self-care was this big thing. And self-care that can literally be so simple, right? So sleeping in an extra 10 minutes, or like,
Sitting in your car for 5, taking a
or
few deep breaths, or eating that Popeye sandwich in the back by yourself.
yes, fuck them kids. Eat that sandwich.
Fuck them kids. And don't fuck them kids, you know what I mean? We know, we love them. We know. We responsible for them. All of that extra stuff. I got to take care of you since I brought you into this world and all that shit. But sometimes, fuck them kids. I always say this, and this is something that I even realized later on in having my son. Like, he had to actually be a teenager for me to start to realize that how can I do for him if I can't do for myself? So at a certain time, for about 2 minutes or so every other day, I had to be like, fuck this nigga. And then, it only lasts for the 1, 2, 3 minutes that I'm doing it because I need to take me a deep breath and be like who I am. Fuck this nigga. And then I'll be like, all right, but you love him. Go back inside and deal. But now, when I went back inside to deal, I wasn't about to knock his head off now. Because how can I really be a productive, responsible, emotionally there parent if I'm not able to just find it within myself? Self care doesn't have to look like a stroll through the botanical gardens and you're picking flowers to set up your lemon and flower oatmeal bath. While that actually sounds splendid,
Definitely sounds quite splendid.
splendid. Um, Self care sometimes is literally just stepping outside of the house into the backyard to smoke you that cigarette, sis. And actually, smoking that cigarette isn't self care, but I digress. I digress. I guess this waste of time it takes to smoke a cigarette might be the amount of time that you could have just been standing out there smoking a blunt. I digress, depending on what your job is. Taking a sip of that wine. I digress. I digress. We're grown here. We're grown. Even if you want to get drunk on sunlight, I don't know about you. Have you ever been drunk on sunlight? No, it's a thing. It is a thing. No, for real. And this is for our non-smokers, non-drinkers, the people who, you know what I mean? We want to be able to incorporate everybody into this. Go take your ass outside and stand directly in the sun and just let it bask over you.
Hmm.
Close your eyes and just start breathing. However you choose to breathe, you like open your eyes and like get back, you feel kind of drunk. Like it's like a natural, no chemical, no extra additive. You created this within yourself. You created this on the sun. You should try it. Let me know in the comments below when you guys go ahead and get drunk on some sun. Because it actually sounds like something I might mess around and do today. I haven't given myself much self care. So
I got to get into this book. That's what I got to do. That's my intention for today. Because I don't have any sun like that.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse.
But it's all right, y'all, cause we gonna talk about it on here soon. But Shorty's on the move. Okay.
Righty on the move. Y'all, I was, because Becky said this book, and I was like, "Oh, let's get into it. Let's get into it." So I have been reading this book, right? And I actually now messed around and then read. I think I'm on the fifth book by this woman because that one book, and I refuse. I have like Kindle Unlimited, so I get to
You find a
borrow.
good when you find a good author and you can just
I'm sorry.
binge reading. Oh, when the book is so good, I
It
love when
made
the
me
book hits so good
curious.
that you don't want to put it down. Yeah, it hit different.
I'm actually going. I kept the book, and I'm going to actually go ahead and reread it after I'm finished reading this. I have the third of a whole nother series that she had or whatever. So after I'm done reading this one, I'm gonna go ahead and reread that book because it 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 hit home for me. So really, the in the book, it was like this character named Joellen, and it was this man Cameron, and Joellen. When the book starts, Joellen starts with a list of why she sucks. That's like the name of the list. Why I suck. And the first one was I'm fat. And the second one, it was all like body related, how she was a boring bitch and just all that shit that she was really saying to herself, right? And that I have definitely said to myself, I have been called a boring bitch, so I didn't took it and adopted it as my narrative because someone else felt that. Um, I've also taken the fat one as my narrative because I've taken that all my life. Um, Joellen was a woman of color, and she was like interracial. So for her, she was like she didn't really fit into a couple of places, and blah blah blah. She didn't really know herself. And I'm a dark woman of color who has definitely found that people try to make me not fit into certain places. Um, just essentially, really a lot about her struck with me. She met this man who refused to let her talk to herself like that. Her mother talked to her crazy, and I was blessed to have a mother who didn't. But the people around me who were supposed to be raising me as well weren't like my mama. So um, it all helped in the building of me and how I thought about myself and what I created my narrative to be, which is essentially what Joellen, that's exactly what Joellen did. But she met this man who refused to let her talk to herself the way that she was talking to herself. And she was being so mean. Like in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay. Ugh, ugh. Like, who does? About a quarter in, I'm like, damn. Because like as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh man, like I'm relating so much. And then about halfway through, I'm like, I don't think I want to read this anymore. Joellen was beating herself up, y'all. Beating herself up, and it was just resonating a little too much for me because I'm not sure if I ever considered what I do to myself as beating myself up, but it was resonating, right?
Yes, and I want to say I love that Joelle was able to be a mirror for you in that way because even I was talking to Roberta about our recording recently. So I was talking to her about like your takeaway from the book, and I was saying you got the message how you needed to receive it, right? You in a book like that's how you needed to receive the message. When me and Roberta were telling you to not speak to yourself that way or like correcting you and making you correct yourself, you heard us, but it didn't resonate with you. And so I love that. I love that that was the mirror for you. That's dope.
Y'all, because they dragged me into this love story. They made Cam. I was banking for Cam the whole time. I was on my bed, y'all. If you've never read a book and been bouncing and just straight up like, no, no, uh, if you have never treated a book like a movie, then you ain't been reading no good books. Like, y'all, I was too lit in here. My boyfriend was like, what is she doing? And I'm laying at my Kindle. At some point, my Kindle needed to be charged, but the portable charger wasn't charged. So I'm at my bed like, oh my God, Joellen, stop talking to yourself like that. Literally. 75% in the book, I was like, this is me. Like, that made me cry. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't even gonna hold you. 75% in the book, I was like, oh, this is me. Oh, is that what I've been doing this whole time? Because I think I'm pretty confident. I'm not gonna lie. Um I set standards and you need to meet them. I'm definitely, yeah, no, I never thought low of myself in that aspect. So am I not as confident, or am I fucking myself up? Literally. Am I fucking myself up? Because Joellen has been beating herself up this whole book, and I have been like, Joellen, cut it out. Stop talking to yourself like that. And I hear my sisters tell me that, but it's like for me, I think it's like when your mama tell you you're beautiful, right? Essentially, you have to, and of course, you think I'm pretty because I look like you, right? So you don't think you ugly, so you might be a little biased here. And so I come from a place of that. I think I come from a place of that a lot. I think that sometimes I have an issue with seeing that. Me and my sisters had a conversation where it was like, they were like, no, if I didn't want you in my life, you wouldn't be in my life. And I was just like, because for me, I never, and it sounds crazy, but what I'm trying to say is that for me, I just never viewed our relationship as like, I know she's my friend, but that's my sister. So regardless, that's my sister.
Y'all, when we had this conversation, like, I was shook at the fact, I was so shook at how hurt Esther was. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I was like, wait, is she really like I would because I know my sister is operates from emotion. So I always want to be very careful about like hurting her feelings. I don't want to hurt her feelings, right? So when I realized her reaction, I was like, oh shit, her feelings are really hurt right now. Like, what the fuck? Did we just like did we just like I did not realize that was a trigger, but in a way, like because of she doesn't see herself detaching from family in that way. And but the reality is, like, let's just be real, okay? Well, I love my sisters, and they really not going nowhere. Like, if we're giving a buck, the moment any person in your life becomes toxic or is not serving you, you have the right to remove that person from your life, right?
Yeah.
And if the relationship is not healthy, you have the right to move somewhere and change the situation to a situation that serves you. And there is nothing wrong with that. That is for your benefit. And so when we were speaking of that, that was not to say that our relationships are toxic and I'm sick of y'all. And as soon as y'all make me sick, I'm gonna like not talk to you. That's not true because that's not healthy because I value the relationship, right? And so I would obviously communicate if there's an issue. If we got beef, I'm gonna be like, what's good? Like, what's the issue? I'm going to try to resolve it, but I think that you thought that was not our intention. And so I'm sorry for making you feel that way, because that wasn't our intention.
Because for me, it was, though, yeah, that's my sister, and yeah, like I have to say that all my relationships with people are perfect or anything like that, right? Or like family members are perfect, right? But that's my sister, and I I hold that title higher than I do friendship. And not to say anything to anybody or my friends or anything like that, but God created these people to be here in this unit with me. My mama always, I don't know, I just always just that's my siblings. Me and my brother do not get along often, but that's my brother. So it hold more weight. It hold more weight for me. So yeah, I have a friendship with her, but that's my sister. So it should just be explained. So I expect for them to be good for my self confidence and stuff. I expect them to be like, "Oh yeah, you pretty," because if Berta didn't say I was pretty, it'd be like, "Berta, but we look alike." So you know, me and Becky be looking alike. So I'll be like, if you didn't think that, bitch, I raised with you. You should think that this face that you've seen for this long, you should be accustomed to
You
it,
don't have
right?
to walk around lying to people. And
Yeah,
not to
but
say that
that's not what I'm saying.
everyone is
Oh,
beautiful in their own
Odie.
everyone is beautiful in their own way and all of that. Yes,
He's really doing
everyone's
it right now,
beautiful.
y'all.
One love, everyone's beautiful. Kumbaya. All that is great. But we don't gotta tell you cute. That's like saying if you put an outfit on, I gotta tell you look cute. You're not going
No,
outside
that's
with me
not
looking
saying that.
raggedy.
It's not.
Right, Odie, cosign. Period.
It's not saying that. What I'm saying is that because I've been a fixture in your life, um, it's okay. So, if you stand in a room, right, and this room has a certain smell, you'll probably never smell it because you've been standing in a room for 2 hours. Versus if you go outside for 5 minutes, then come back inside, or if you were never inside of here in the first place at all, and you come back and you just come inside and you're seeing it with new eyes.
I get that, but like we weren't like we were raised together. We weren't like raised together, so I could
Yeah,
see people
but
as
but but
ugly.
but we've been pretty close,
Or
especially you and
Roberta,
me.
or Roberta at least. Like my opinion,
Yeah,
yes.
but me and
Maybe I
Berta,
was right,
goddamn.
but Roberta will tell you if you were ugly. I promise. I promise. I promise. That's promise. Promise, baby.
Either way,
Either way,
either way, it hit me, y'all. Do you see this shit?
I want to be loved how Odie loves you.
Over loving me right now in this moment of time. Um, really, what it did for me was I've always been a book reader. I've always loved me a good book, and I be liking like the fantasy and the stuff or whatever. Then, like as of late, I guess I've been going to more people, real people, things, and it just made me like I walked this journey with her and I feel like I walked my whole life. And essentially, at the end of this book, my whole take on it, because they did get together, and spoiler alert, they was totally, and now I want me a Scottish man or something, a Scottish friend or something, because call me Laz. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. Either way, either way, um, I walked away from that book looking at myself in the mirror like this shit is not gonna. You cannot continue to do that. Like, and it's crazy because I don't know if Joellen is like a. She could be based off a true character, right? I don't know. You spoke to your girl. And when I was reading the reviews and the comments and stuff prior to reading the book, I didn't really understand because I didn't really read the book, right? But then now that I'm reading them again, because I don't know why sometimes, especially when it's a good book, I'd be like, "Ooh, let me look at the reviews." Because since I don't have nobody else to talk to about it, it's like cool to read the reviews and see what other people's takes are on it, right? I was like, "Oh yeah, God, you're so right." The first time I had read it, I was like, "Okay, okay, it might be a good book. It might be a good book." When I was reading it again the second time, I was like, "Oh, you so right. You so right. Yes, me too." I was literally going through it and realizing how I made my narrative a wall of not nice things. And even though, yeah, I know I'm a hard worker, I know that I get things done, I know I'm a go getter. I know these things about myself, right? But do I really know them about myself if I criticize them? If I criticize that so hard, if I'm telling myself, "You're fucking better than this girl. What the fuck are you doing?" I literally be talking to myself crazy. I'd be like, "You're fat. You're looking crazy. Look at your fucking face today." Literally.
And you know, what's interesting? It's interesting because if you know my sister, you know that no one no one is allowed to speak to her crazy. That's just a boundary. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Don't talk to me crazy, period. Like,
yeah.
I'm correct. And so it's interesting how she won't allow anyone to disrespect her or talk to her crazy. However,
I'm
people
doing
talk
it
to her
every
crazy.
day.
And so if you're someone that don't think that doesn't think that you're guilty of this, or just is unsure, pay attention to how you're motivating yourself. Like, pay attention, stand in front of the mirror naked, and see what comes up. You literally don't even have to think. Things will just come up naturally, and see what those thoughts are. But it's going to be a process of correction. If you've been talking to yourself this way your entire life, you're not going to just be talking to yourself all glittery and you the popping ass bitch tomorrow. Like, it's
Cut it out. I have done a couple of exercises and I picked the days that I thought were my best days. I ain't gonna hold you because ain't that what you're supposed to do? But where I did like mirror work. And while I'm not ready for like looking deep into myself and like figuring out the bad things about myself, because I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm okay with who I am. I'm like fine with it. I've done work, I've gotten some things figured out, my temper, things that make me outwardly crazy, blah 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 blah. But I'm okay with how I think and how I process and how emotional I am and and that I might be softer than most, but you couldn't tell. Like I'm okay with this. I'll build on it or whatever. But right now, today, I'm fine. But what I do know is that there are days where I think that I look real good. I'd be like, "Ooh, your skin is glowing. You are glowing today, and your little belly is looking a little slim. What you got going on today?" So during those days, I'll go do my mirror work and I'll stand in front of that mirror naked and I will look. I'm blessed to be able to have a few body length mirrors in my house. If you don't have one, go to Family Dollar, get you one and put it on the door. It works the same. And look at yourself. Back up. So this is what I do. I back up first because they be like, "Oh, from the further back or whatever, you're supposed to look better or whatever." I don't know. I don't know. It's all a thing of what you do to your head. It's what you do to your head. That's what works for me. So I'll be like 6 feet from the mirror. At this point, I get to see all of me. I'd be like, "Okay." You start with the big things. You start with the big things. Okay, you is glowy. Look at you, chocolates. Looking kind of good. Ooh, is that a for you, girl? I'll see here. Literally. These thighs is looking pretty. Is they looking jiggly out here? Okay. Oh, now I'm like, ooh, voluptuous. I'm not, but I like to tell myself I got big boobies, What kind of stuff? Overwhelmed with myself. Just, oh my God. Because the next step, I can see my face. And for me, that's a place of contention for me. Because while I think that I am cute as hell, I also think that this same face for some reason wasn't good enough a lot of times. And am I not seeing something that they saw? And there we go. This questioning, this is where I start to, because I'm now getting deeper, right? I'm like now really, really, really working with what's going on in my head. Because why don't I feel good enough? Why am I letting someone who doesn't have any effect on my life even get to me that way? Why the fuck does it matter if I'm this kind of pretty? Like why why do I care?
Hmm. Yeah. Then it comes. Then you're unraveling the story, and it's like this isn't true.
Is it because the last step is because the last step always makes me cry. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you because that's really where we done got to. Like now we're really thinking about me and myself and my brain and how we are not about to just let this be what we stop at. So now I gotta remind myself of every last goddamn step I just took and why combined that makes me a fucking goddess and how to be a goddess, I gotta move as a goddess. I gotta walk as a fucking goddess. And goddess does not doubt herself. She does not take things that she cannot change that are brought into this world. I was brought into this motherfucking world like this. Maybe a couple of extra pounds, maybe not. Who the fuck knows? But there's nothing I can do about this. Short of going to get plastic surgery because it's 2020. Regardless of whatever plastic surgery they go and do, though, they're never going to be able to fix my fucking brain. So I know that at the end of the day, that this work that I'm doing here, is going to make me so much prettier than I ever thought I was going to be. Because for me, that's what it is, right? Like I'm like prettier. Someone else might be more grounded. Um, it's really not what it is for me. I really want to be the most zen I can ever be. And I feel like I have to be okay with my physical to be okay with my mental. If I don't want to work out, but then I can't complain about my stomach. Like, I don't want to go walking, so when my thighs get a little too juicy, I don't want to go walking. So essentially, everything that I want to do, I can do, and if I don't do it, then I know I don't really want to do it. It's my fault. It's my fault. When I came to that conclusion, it made things a lot easier. I'm not gonna because while you're like, oh my god, she's now blaming herself for everything.
I want to just be real. I want to be real because while it makes things a lot easier, when you get there, it's like, what the fuck? You did this shit? Is that
You're
you?
so stupid. You're so stupid. And then when you realize it's your fault, don't tell yourself that you're stupid. Just tell yourself you're learning and you experiencing stuff. Because I ain't gonna hold you. When I came to that, I was like, you're so stupid. Start by telling yourself that you're better, you deserve better. That's not true. That can't be it. It can't be it. Why am I being so mean to myself? Why am I? Because you allowing someone to be mean to you is you being mean to yourself. In my firm belief, this person got beat up, and then somebody on the side was like, "It's your fault." Like essentially, it's your fault they beat you up, right? And I was like, "What? But oh no, it is your fault because you allowed this shit to happen. There's a few things you could have did. However you want to look at it, there's a few things. There's a few steps that could have been taken, and when you choose to not take any steps, it's your fault. You allowed that to happen. You allowed yourself to demolish yourself. You allowed those people to demolish you. You allowed this to happen. You only have control over yourself. And if you don't take that control, it's your fault. It's your fault. Standing still is your fault. Moving forward, your fault also. But standing still, your fault.
My intention for the self-care challenge was to remind everyone to prioritize themselves. I think oftentimes we say that we are taking care of ourselves, and then when it comes to us actually having to look back to the last time that we did something for ourselves, then it's like, oh shit, I didn't realize that much time passed. And my intention was to remind all of us that it can be so easy to take care of to it is so easy to take small steps daily to take care of yourself. And it doesn't have to be as difficult. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be all these things that mainstream media says that it is. Okay. Um, and I'm grateful that I was able to hold space for you guys. I'm grateful for everyone that was vulnerable.
Oh yeah, because we had some real life things happening in that group too.
I'm grateful. We're definitely going to be doing this again. I'm not sure when, but we'll definitely be
I
doing
was
it again. As always, speak kindly to yourself. Speak to yourself like you love yourself. Don't forget to prioritize yourself, and how you show up for yourself will set the tone for how you can show up for others.
Amen.
Until next
Bye,
time.
y'all.
Peace.